Welcome to Hard Script.
Her friends said I would beg if she ever left me. They said it loud enough for me to hear. It was at Jason and Marissa's backyard party. String lights over the fence, country music playing low, beer bottles sweating on the patio table. I was at the grill, flipping burgers, while Emily stood by the fire pit with Chloe and Madison, wine glasses in their hands, laughing too hard at something that wasn't that funny. Chloe tilted her head toward me and said that I was a nice guy, steady, predictable. Madison added that guys like me never saw it coming. Then, in that sharp tone women use when they think a man is out of earshot, Chloe said that if Emily ever walked away, I would not last a week. She said I would show up at her door, apologizing for things I did not even understand. Emily did not defend me. She sipped her wine and said maybe they were right. She said maybe I was too comfortable. Maybe we both were. The music kept playing. Someone laughed. A dog barked next door. I stood there with the smoke from the grill rising into my face, and I did not turn around. Later that night, when we were home and the house was quiet, Emily leaned against the kitchen counter and said her friends thought we had settled. She said maybe we should take a break. She said it like she was suggesting a different restaurant for dinner. I looked at her and told her that if she wanted to end it, we should not drag it out. She blinked, like she had expected an argument. I did not raise my voice. I did not ask who had been filling her head. I just nodded once and said that if she believed I could not survive without her, she was welcome to test that theory. She went upstairs without answering. That night, she slept facing the wall. In the morning, her phone lit up on the nightstand. A message preview flashed across the screen from a name I did not recognize. Ryan, last night was fun. We should not have to hide it. I did not touch the phone. I just watched the screen go dark. The name on her screen stayed with me the entire morning. Ryan. Emily moved around the kitchen like nothing had shifted. She poured coffee, scrolled through her phone, asked if I wanted eggs. Her voice was calm, almost lighter than usual, like she had already stepped halfway out the door and was waiting to see if I would grab her wrist. I did not mention the message. I did not ask who Ryan was. I left for work the way I always did, kissed her cheek the way I always did, and closed the door without slamming it. At the office, Jason cornered me near the vending machines. He tried to sound casual. He said the party had been fun. Then he said, almost as an afterthought, that Emily and Chloe had gotten pretty close with a guy from Chloe's gym. He said the guy had stayed late after most people left. He said he figured I knew. I told him I appreciated the heads up. He looked at me like he was waiting for something else. Anger. Denial. A joke. I gave him none of it. That evening, Emily said she was going to Chloe's place to help her plan a birthday dinner. She changed twice before leaving. She picked the black dress I bought her last winter. The one she said made her feel seen. Her phone buzzed while she was in the bathroom. I glanced at the screen again. Ryan. Same spot as last time. I set the phone back exactly where it had been. When she left, I did not follow her. I opened my laptop instead. I logged into our shared phone account. We had never bothered to separate it. There were numbers, dates, patterns. Long calls in the middle of the day when she was supposedly running errands. Late-night texts when I was already asleep. This was not new. This had roots. Around midnight, I heard her car in the driveway. She walked in smelling like perfume that was not hers. She moved quietly, as if I might be fragile. I lay still in the dark and let her think I was. By the end of the week, I knew more about Ryan than Emily realized. His last name was Carter. He worked in commercial real estate. Divorced. No kids. A clean social media presence full of gym photos, rooftop bars, and filtered sunsets. The kind of man who looked good standing next to someone else's wife. The phone records told a quieter story. Calls during her lunch breaks. Messages before she left the house. A pattern of contact that stretched back months, long before Chloe's birthday excuse. One afternoon, while Emily showered upstairs, her tablet lit up on the coffee table. She had forgotten to mute notifications. A message banner slid across the screen. Ryan wrote that he hated pretending he did not exist. He wrote that she deserved more than a man who was just comfortable. I did not open the thread. I did not need to. The preview was enough. That evening, Emily mentioned again that maybe we had grown apart. She said her friends thought we were too calm, too routine. She said she did not want to wake up 10 years from now wondering what else was out there. I watched her as she spoke. Her hands moved when she talked about freedom. They stilled when she talked about us. I told her that if she felt something was missing, I would not beg her to stay. She studied my face like she was searching for cracks. There were none. The next morning, I transferred half of our savings into a separate account under my name. Quietly. Legally. I canceled the joint credit card we barely used. I changed the direct deposit for my paycheck. Every move was clean. No drama. No announcement. Emily did not notice. She was busy texting in the kitchen, smiling at her screen. That weekend, Chloe hosted another gathering. Emily said Ryan might stop by, since he was just a friend from the gym. I told her I would not be attending. For the first time since this started, she looked uncertain, as if the script she had rehearsed suddenly had a missing line. The night of Chloe's gathering, I packed a small suitcase. Not in secret, not in anger. I folded shirts, a pair of jeans, my gym shoes, my laptop. Emily stood in the doorway of the bedroom, dressed for the party, watching me like she was waiting for the punchline. She asked where I was going. I told her I had booked a short-term rental downtown. I said we both needed space if we were going to see what else was out there. I used her words, steady and even. She laughed at first, thinking it was a tactic. She said I did not have to be dramatic. She said she was just going to Chloe's for a few hours. I zipped the suitcase and carried it past her. In the kitchen, she followed me, asking if I was really going to walk out over a conversation. I told her I was not walking out. I was simply not standing in the same place anymore. She said her friends had warned her I would panic if she ever pulled away. She said they thought I would fight harder. I told her they might be disappointed. I left before she did. The rental apartment was small but clean, with wide windows and a view of the city lights. I set my suitcase down, opened my laptop, and turned off the location sharing on my phone. I muted her notifications. Then I ordered dinner and ate it alone at the counter. Around midnight, my phone began to light up. First a text from Emily asking where I was. Then another asking if I was serious. Then a call. I let it ring. A message followed, longer this time. She said Chloe had asked where I was. She said people noticed I was not there. She said Ryan had shown up, but it felt awkward. I did not respond. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise and went for a run along the river. When I checked my phone afterward, there were 7 missed calls. For the first time since that party, she was the one waiting for an answer. By the time Emily realized I was not coming back that weekend, the story had already started shifting around her. Jason called me while I was at the gym. He said Chloe's party had not gone the way Emily expected. He said Ryan had stayed close to her all night. But once people noticed I was absent, the tone changed. Marissa had asked, in front of everyone, whether Emily and I were okay. Chloe tried to laugh it off. Ryan apparently said nothing. Jason told me Ryan left early. That detail mattered. Later that afternoon, I did something simple. I sent an anonymous email from a temporary account to the managing partner at Ryan's firm. I attached screenshots from Ryan's public social media posts that showed him entertaining clients at properties not yet cleared for promotion. The captions were careless. The tags were obvious. It was not illegal what he posted, but it was reckless for someone in his position. I did not accuse him of anything. I simply forwarded what was already visible. Then I closed the account and deleted it. I did not tell Emily. I did not mention Ryan again. That evening, Emily showed up at the rental apartment unannounced. She looked smaller standing in the hallway than she had in our kitchen. She said she wanted to talk. She said people were asking questions. She said Chloe thought I was overreacting. I listened without interrupting. She asked if this was about Ryan. I told her this was about respect. She said Ryan was just someone who made her feel noticed. She said it had not gone as far as I might think. I did not ask how far it had gone. While she spoke, her phone buzzed. She glanced down and froze. I saw the name of Ryan's firm in the notification preview. A meeting request had been moved up. Mandatory attendance. Her expression shifted. For the first time, she looked uncertain about him. Not about me. About him. The meeting at Ryan's firm did not stay private for long. Jason texted me the next day, saying one of his clients worked in the same building. Word had spread that Ryan had been called in by senior partners over concerns about professionalism. There was talk about boundaries, about public image, about judgment. Nothing final, nothing dramatic, but enough to shake confidence. By the weekend, Emily's friends were quieter. Chloe invited her to brunch, but the photos that usually filled social media never appeared. Madison posted a story about protecting your peace without tagging anyone. The tone had shifted from bold encouragement to careful distance. Emily stopped by the rental again that evening. She looked tired, like she had not slept much. She said people were acting strange. She said Chloe told her maybe it was better to focus on fixing her marriage instead of chasing excitement. I let her speak. She said Ryan had been distracted lately. She said he was dealing with issues at work. She said he had not been texting as much. She tried to say it casually, but her voice tightened at the edges. I asked her one question. I asked whether she still believed I would not survive without her. She did not answer. She looked around the apartment instead. The kitchen was clean. My clothes were folded neatly on a chair. My running shoes were by the door. There were no signs of chaos. No signs of a man unraveling. She said she did not expect me to leave like this. She said she thought I would fight harder. I told her I was not fighting for a position I had already been removed from. That night, she called 3 times after leaving. I did not pick up. The next morning, she texted that her parents had asked what was going on. Apparently, Chloe's husband had mentioned that I had moved out. The story was no longer contained within her circle. It was moving outward, and she was no longer controlling it. A few days later, Emily asked to meet somewhere neutral. We chose a quiet coffee shop halfway between the house and my rental. The kind of place where people worked on laptops and pretended not to listen. She arrived early. I could tell by the way she was already seated, fingers wrapped around a cup she was not drinking from. She looked different, less certain. Her hair was pulled back in a way she used to wear it when she was stressed. She said Ryan had stopped responding altogether. She said his firm was conducting an internal review and he needed to lay low. She tried to sound understanding, like she respected his priorities. But there was something brittle in her tone. She said Chloe had stopped inviting her out as often. Madison had told her that maybe stirring up drama in a marriage was not a good look. Even her own sister had asked whether she was sure she wanted to throw away something stable for someone who could disappear under pressure. Emily said she felt alone. I listened. She said she did not expect me to detach like this. She said she thought I would chase her, argue, demand explanations. She said that when I did not, it made everything feel heavier. I told her I was not detaching to hurt her. I was simply stepping out of a situation where I was being measured against someone who did not carry any of the weight. She looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. Not because I had changed my face or my voice, but because I was no longer reacting on cue. She reached across the table, almost touching my hand, then stopped herself. She said she needed to know whether this was over. I told her it depended on whether she understood what she had risked. Outside, people passed by the window without noticing us. Inside, the space between us felt wider than the street. For the first time, she did not look confident about walking away. After the coffee shop, Emily stopped talking about space. She started talking about us. She asked if I would come back to the house just to talk without distractions. She said the silence between us was worse than any argument. She said she felt like she was losing something solid while everything else around her shifted. I agreed to come by in the evening. The house looked the same, but the air inside felt different. Quieter. The framed photos on the wall suddenly seemed staged, like props from a life we had rehearsed too many times. Emily had cleaned. The kitchen counters were spotless. A candle burned on the dining table, something she only did when she wanted a mood. She told me Ryan had not contacted her since the meeting at his firm. She said she reached out once and received a short reply about focusing on work and avoiding complications. She tried to explain that she never meant for things to go that far. She said it started as attention, as harmless messages, as someone noticing her. I did not ask for details. She said her friends had gone quiet. Chloe told her she needed to fix her marriage instead of looking for validation. Madison had distanced herself completely. Even Jason's wife had made a comment about loyalty at a recent dinner. Emily said she felt exposed. I walked through the living room slowly, looking at the couch where we used to sit at night. I did not sit down. I remained standing, hands in my pockets. She asked if I still loved her. I told her love was not the question. Respect was. Her voice broke slightly when she said she had not realized how far she pushed things. She said she thought I would always be there, steady and waiting. I told her I had been steady. I had never promised to wait. For the first time, she looked afraid that I might actually walk out for good. And this time, there were no friends around to applaud her courage. In the days that followed, Emily tried to rebuild the version of us she had almost discarded. She cooked dinners she knew I liked and sent photos of the plates, as if presentation could repair what had shifted underneath. She texted updates about her day without being asked. She stopped going out at night. Her phone stayed face up on the table when we met. She was making sure I could see everything. But what was gone did not come back just because she was trying harder. Ryan's situation at work did not improve. Jason mentioned that one of the senior partners had taken over several of his accounts. There were rumors about poor judgment and blurred lines. Nothing public, nothing explosive, but enough to stall his momentum. The rooftop photos stopped. The gym selfies slowed down. His online presence went quiet. Emily noticed. She stopped saying his name altogether. One evening, she came to the rental again. No makeup, hair pulled back, wearing jeans and one of my old hoodies. She did not try to perform confidence this time. She sat on the edge of the couch and told me she felt like everything she reached for was slipping away. Her friends were distant. Ryan was unavailable. Even her parents had asked whether she understood what she had risked. She said she replayed that night at Jason's party in her head. She said she remembered laughing when Chloe joked that I would beg. She said she saw my back at the grill and realized she never turned around to see my face. She asked if it was too late. I did not answer right away. I told her I had already begun speaking with an attorney, not to escalate anything, but to understand my options. I said I needed clarity about where I stood if this ended. She went pale. For the first time, she understood that I had moved forward without waiting for her decision. And she was no longer certain she had one left to make. The last time we sat across from each other in the house, there were no candles and no rehearsed speeches. Emily had asked me to come over one more time. She said she did not want our marriage to end in silence. When I walked in, the place felt smaller than before, as if the walls had absorbed every word that had been said inside them. She did not try to justify anything this time. She did not mention Ryan. She did not blame her friends. She said she had confused attention with value. She said she mistook stability for something she could replace whenever she got bored. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled in her lap. I told her I had never been competing with anyone. I had simply been showing up. When that stopped being enough, I stopped showing up too. She asked whether there was still a chance. I looked around the living room slowly. The same couch. The same framed wedding photo. The same quiet that used to feel safe. I told her that chances do not come from panic. They come from change. And change is not proven in a single conversation. She said she was willing to do whatever it took. Counseling. Boundaries. Cutting off anyone who disrespected our marriage. She said she understood now that when I left without begging, it was not weakness. It was final. I picked up my jacket from the back of the chair. She stood as I walked toward the door, as if she expected me to pause, to soften, to turn this into a dramatic reconciliation. I did not. At the threshold, I told her one thing. I said I did not disappear. I just stopped standing where I was not respected. Then I stepped outside. This time, I did not look back.